Hi learners, welcome back. It's CS3244 Machine Learning. And now we're in week 6, the week right before our semester break, and we're going to be covering 2 keys for overfitting that we learned about in our bias variance lecture last week. And the 2 keys that we're going to feature are regularization and validation. And this week we also have another guest star. We have Professor Kiong, who will give us a little bit of a taste about these 2 subjects. So I'm going to ask him to introduce himself. Kiong, welcome to CS3244 Machine Learning.
Hi everyone, I'm Kiong. I'm a professor of practice at the Department of Computer Science. I'm also a deputy director at the Institute of Data Science. Now, some of you may be curious about what does a professor of practice do? Well, as a professor of practice, I'm interested in the practice or applications of data mining and machine learning in the real-world settings, since I came to the university with a previous industry background. I am particularly motivated by working with a wide range of industry partners on a wide range of problem statements. For example, I'm currently working with Grab to use their GPS data of actual Grab drivers to help build better maps for Southeast Asia. I'm also working with SingHealth to build better disease models for our local patients using our local medical data. Now, by working on these real-world applications, I get to see data mining and machine learning in action and gain also insights on the real world around us. I get to learn a lot about different application domains besides the computing domain that I'm in.
Kiong, now I know a little bit more about what a professor of practice does. Now I wanted to ask you, today's topic is about regularization and validation. So I thought we'd start with regularization first. How does regularization feature in the type of research that you do?
Sure. As mentioned, my interest is in the real-world applications of data mining and machine learning. So one key challenge in real-world application is, now, how do we make sure that our machine learning model will continue to work well after it leaves our lab and goes into the real world? In fact, very often we build a model and it delivers very good results on the existing data in the lab. But when we try it out in the real world to use it to predict the new unseen data, we find that it doesn't really deliver good results as promised. What could be the problem? One of the possible reasons is that we may have overfitted our model on our training data, our limited training data usually. This could happen especially when you have data that have a large number of features or when you are using a very large and complex deep learning networks with lots of parameters. In this case, overfitting is very likely to occur. Now, interestingly, the world is such that a simpler and more elegant model can usually explain the world better than a complex and ugly model. Based on this observation, one approach is then to discourages or penalizes complexity in the models, even if the complex models fit the observed training data perfectly. This is because the training data set that we give to the model to learn is only a representation of the world out there. So, if the model simply memorizes each and every data point perfectly in the training data and rigidly, it will not be able to generalize to accommodate the new data that you will see in the real world later. This is the same if you simply memorize each and every word that Professor Min said in this course. I'm sure you will not do well in the exams if you do so, and also in future as a data scientist. Now, regularization is therefore one answer to the question that we ask on how we make sure that our machine learning model will continue to work well after it leaves our lab and goes into the real world. Of course, there are numerous other regularization techniques beside the above approach that I mentioned, which I think you will learn in today's lecture.
Thanks, Kiong. And so we'll be back with Kiong later in the outro for this week's lecture. For now, let's get started.